terms of managers coming in, just putting it out there to the panel, I want to go to Giuseppe first. Inzaghi's name has been mentioned today. We obviously know there are other names like Southgate that are out there. What type of manager do you believe Man United should go for if the inevitable happens, and that is that Ten Hag loses his job?
Yeah, I think you need someone ruthless. I think that's it. You need the way Arteta come into Arsenal. That's what you need. Because, like you said, with the monkey and the stairs and stuff, I think one of the first things in the summer you guys have to do is sell Bruno Fernandes and sell Marcus Rashford. Because I think they're rotten cores in your team that will rot all players coming in. I generally believe that, and I generally believe that new managers will come in and these same players are just bitter towards the club and they need to go. So I'd bring in someone that's harsh enough to say, I don't care, Rashford, that you're a young boy from the club. You're not good enough for this team. You're the old regime. We need to get rid of you. Bruno Fernandes, okay, you had good seasons, but you're not the right mentality for this team. You need to go. Can Inzaghi be that guy? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's ruthless like that. I think he could be another Ten Hag sort of manager for you guys. I don't think he's a bad manager by any account. I don't know if Man United's the right job for him. I would personally, if it was me, I would give Van Nistelrooy the season. I'd sack him today and tell Van Nistelrooy, you have the season, because I think Van Nistelrooy is probably good enough to actually be a Manchester United manager for the long term. I know people will be scared of that with the Ole stuff and all that and the way that happened, but I think Van Nistelrooy is a bit different, and I think he would be ruthless, definitely from a guy that's been at Man United from the years of success. And probably sitting on the bench watching this, thinking, "What is this club become?" Man?
What does that say about Ineos, though? Giuseppe, sorry to interrupt, but what does that say about Ineos? Because they came in February, told us we're aiming to be the best and the bar to hire the best in class. If you end up keeping this manager, which they did, and then he fails in the first couple months, and then you give the assistant the rest of the season, instead of being ruthless and going for one of the best managers out there, or try whoever's available, or take someone like Inzaghi. Listen, Inzaghi is one of the best in the world. That would send statements to all United fans that we were not lying when we're saying we're trying to recruit the best in class. The best in class is Pep, but we're not getting Pep. So, like, you also have to be a little bit reasonable what you're saying, but the best available. So if they go and get Tuchel as an example, or Javi, they're going to be, well, that's the best that's available. Or we were ruthless enough and went and paid money and got someone out of a smaller contract. I don't know how much he gets paid in Inter, but I don't think he gets paid as much as he would get in the Premier League. You know what I'm saying? Giving it to Rude, I wouldn't mind him as an interim until you get a manager, but to give him the season from September or October, technically, because we're about to be in October, I don't think, I think it's way too early for you to write off the season, be like, oh yeah, let's just give it to the assistant manager.
Yeah, no, I hear that 100%. But I don't know. Maybe it's because in my head, I've always looked at him being the assistant as I felt that they want to give him the job further on. Anyway, I think that's the only reason he went and was an assistant, because
he turned down managerial jobs this summer.
He won the league, turned down managerial jobs, and went to be a second.
I think he enjoys being an assistant. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But
you could look at it your way. I don't disagree, but I think he might just enjoy being an assistant at a big club.
Maybe, and it's Man United. So, but I just think under Ten Hag, it ain't like going under a Pep, and you could be like, I could see why he goes second under Pep. Under Ten Hag, maybe, but maybe the Man United, as you say, he's a Man United legend. So, like, maybe that's the factor of why he was an assistant there. But I actually think the long term was to make him the manager, and probably saying we'll give him this season, get Rude up to speed of what we want and that, and then make him the manager. But then that's also kind of negative, because if you don't think he's good enough to take over from the start of this season, then maybe that's a poor decision in the long run. But Inzaghi, I don't know, man. I just don't know if he will be the right fit for Man United. Listen, it's hard because, and this is why I always say, and I don't want to bring it to Arsenal, but when people are saying sack Arteta, there's not much out there, man. There's not much out there. So it's kind of hard for Man United.
Yeah, I mean, I want to throw this to Nobbins, to the point. I understand the point of best in class.
Yes.
But are the best in class attainable for Man United right now? And do we have the structure in terms of the squad ready for the best in class? Because say Pep was a free agent today, would Pep take over this Man United squad in this current situation?
I think that second point you make is a really good one. I think personally, regardless of what Ineos have said, and Tom and I discussed this earlier today. I think it would be a mistake for United to pursue, quote, best in class. So I see people in the chat, saying Zidane, Inzaghi, Ancelotti, etc. I think that a large section of the United fan base needs a bit of a reality check and sort of like a bit of a reset in that the squad that has been made it is a ragtag bunch of players who don't quite seem to fit in with one another. I think what United need first and foremost is a tactician, someone who's good at getting the basics right, as Staffy said earlier, someone who is actually competent tactically. Ten Hag isn't that. Tuchel is a good name. I actually think, I'm being serious here, I think Thomas Frank would be a really, really good shout for United. Now, is it a sexy name? No, obviously not. But I think there has to be an acceptance that just going for a massive name like Zidane, like Inzaghi, is not the way to go about it. What United need, again, is a reality check. Oh, it's all well and good saying this is Man United, this is Man United. You haven't won a league title in over a decade. There's got to be an understanding that it's what Ineos have done, come in and they've tried to play it on fast modes. They've gone right, and now we need to be competing now immediately. I personally don't think that's the right long-term strategy.
But they haven't said that's some fact. That isn't what they've said. I mean, they are targeting, and this got again Standard FC attacked Barra the other day, but he's right. He said they're targeting to be ready to win the title in the 2027-28 season. And people go, why would you not want to win the ones before that? And it's not, but that makes sense because you have to consider how good all the other teams are that are currently ahead of you, how long it's going to take to build a system. And this is where I agree with you. And this is where, when I've listened to Man United fans argue in the last couple of days.
So just to confirm, Terry is Thomas Frank in. You're Thomas Frank in. Just want to get that soundbite.
I wouldn't throw my toys out of the pram because I am under the. Listen, I would love one of the best managers in the world to come in and help us through this rebuild. That's going to take 2 to 3 years minimum until I think we're until we can become a very consistent team. Why do I think this? Forget Real Madrid not winning the league for a year or two and buying 2 superstars and the new manager and getting back to the top. They haven't fallen off. No one has been able to show me examples of a team Man United size, 11 years in the doldrum, in a league as competitive as the Premier League, where we're not the richest team by a country mile and have a financial monopoly over everybody, that's been as bad as we have been for a decade, that can rebuild in one summer and get back to the very top. I just don't see and by the way, maintain it. Yes, we could go out and spend 400, 500, 600 million pounds on 3 or 4 stars, bring in an Ancelotti, and you might be able to win a league title. But is that sustainable over a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 year period? I don't think it is in the long term. So you sometimes have to take a step backward first. But the same fans, a lot of the fans screaming about Ten Hag's got to go, will improve without him, are the same individuals that said this for all the other previous managers being sacked, and they're still not willing to accept the idea and understand that even with a better manager, the basics will improve, we'll play better football, but don't expect us to look like Arsenal, Liverpool, and City do right now straight away. It's not going to happen overnight. And I think for me, that's where United fans have to be realistic. This is going to take time. As I saw United fans all summer going, look how good Chelsea, look, and their manager's only been there a few weeks. They're going into the 3rd year of this project with these owners. It isn't 3 months in. Yes, it is with the new manager, but the project didn't start in the summer. And that's the bit that I pull my hair out over, is they ignore the way our club's been run. Slot, yes, he's doing an amazing job. I praised him. But Slot didn't take over Liverpool after Roy Hodgson and turn him into this team straight away. He took over from Jurgen Klopp. And again, I know they don't spend enough money and they should look to spend more. That element frustrates Liverpool fans. But it's well run. The culture's been good there for the best part of a decade. I'm not surprised he's doing well. When Pep leaves, you'll hire a competent head coach and you will maintain a very high level because it's going to be relatively seamless. You won't be as good because Pep's an anomaly because of how good he is. Man United fans frustrate me because we've done this for 11 years and I feel like we're doing it again. Sell Bruno and Rashford. Bring in Zaghi. We're cooking, bro. We'll be back. In 6 months, we're not quite consistent enough, and everyone's losing their minds again. It's crazy. It's going to take years. Anyone that doesn't think it will, you've got to cite me the multiple examples that mirror Man United where it's been fixed in months, weeks. Show me. It doesn't exist. It's so annoying to hear this same conversation, not between you lot, externally, for 11 years. And every time a manager's sacked, anyone who backs them's told you were wrong. Those same people that backed it 6 months later, get this manager out. Well, you were wrong as well, because none of us are focusing. And I've seen the United fans in the last few days kicking off at each other, and I understand there's heat. I want to see this energy towards the owners the way we're run. That's where the energy should be. At the end of the day, if Staffy gets a prediction wrong about a player that he thinks is a good buy, Staffy hasn't damaged the club with a prediction as a fan. Since when did that become a thing? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It doesn't make sense to me personally. I think we're focusing so much on the wrong things as fans, and when we just don't. It's not that we don't understand football. I think we understand the basics of playing on the pitch. As fans, a lot of us have played it. I think we understand the game. People are just underestimating how much work goes into making a top club be run and how long it takes to get that machine operating correctly. Pep would not have won what he has done in the last 8 years if he took over from Mark Hughes in the summer of 2009. In the same 8-year period from 2009 until 2016, I don't think he would have won the same volume of trophies he's done in the last period, because the structure and the squad and the scouting, nothing was built. He came into an amazing club and just helped take it to another level. It's just sad for me that that's the one thing I worry about. I don't know if we've got the fan base anymore to understand how long this is going to take, and the fact that we may not be able to go out and get the best in class straight away. So I think you're spot on, Robin. Sorry to rant and take over a bit there, but I'm just genuinely worried about this circumstance.
It takes longer because you're going up against teams that have been settled and well structured and are better than you and are still going to keep improving as transfer windows happen. That's going to take even longer as well. Certain football fans, when they hear rebuild, think the rest of the football world stands still for 3 years whilst you make your transfers, and all of a sudden you've got a brilliant team. No. Do you think Arsenal are going to sit there next summer and go, well, let's let United get a window under the belt. Let's see how they do. Let's see if they're improving a little bit. No, Liverpool aren't. City aren't. They're going to be adding pieces to their squads. Rebuilds take time. Rebuilds are to get to the point where United fans seem to want to be within 3 years. You need a perfect storm. You need a lot of things out of your control to go right at the same time. And I think football is becoming so micromanaged now at so many top clubs that the opportunities for that to happen aren't happening as often, aren't being as frequent. United need to focus on rebuilding to be that fourth club again, because that's the only spot that's really available at the minute. That fourth club in the top four. United can't be, United fans, United ownership, United whatever, they can't be sitting there going, well, we'll have a league title by 2028. You might not even be in the Champions League by 2026. You can't win league titles in 28 if you're not in the Champions League in 26.
Do you know what, though? But what I would say is this. Like, I'm still backing Ineos to get this right. I still think they can, again, but this is where the standards have to be contextual based. Maybe by that season of 2027, 2028, we're a really good team. But if there are 2 or 3 other teams that are just slightly better than us, but we're up there competing, I think most fans can handle that. I think the majority of football fans, if you're playing good football and you're in these races, depending on how many other teams are also in those races, it's why, typically speaking, most teams weren't calling every summer for their manager to be sacked in the old traditional top 4 days of Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool. Even Chelsea fans used to get annoyed when Ancelotti was sacked because he didn't win the league one season, because they understood that not winning the league didn't mean you had a crap season based on how good everybody else is. So I think context, again, needs to be applied to that, personally. But yeah, a few people saying, am I turning my back on Ineos? No, I think they will get this right. I'm just aware it's going to take some time. Let me do these super chats here because I don't want to run out of time tonight. He's also running people into the ground. Remember last year, Scott had injuries. By the way, Scott McTominay was brilliant, I heard again last night for Napoli. Got an assist and they're top of the league in Serie A.
Don't take it seriously.
Well, all right. I'm just saying. Just came back and he's played him nearly 220 minutes with no training. Also, big up Staffy, especially after earlier today. Is what Joshua
I didn't
Jack
die
said.
today, guys. I appreciate the nice messages, but it's not like I came out of surgery. I'm good. Trust me.
I think they're saying like Staffy's like it's like the little bro in you, like, oh, poor little weak Staffy. No, I'm joking.
The streets knew. The streets
Well,
knew.
by the
who
way,
won
if you
that.
and Sunshine actually got into it, like he's about 6'3", 6'4", you're pretty big. That'd be like a clash of the giants. I mean, I'd pay tickets for that, you know. I'd pay tickets
Nah,
for
I
that.
have no interest in that. Thank you.
I'm only joking. Lampard is a caretaker. Listen, Gav, I love you, bro, but do one, brother. Do one. Do world-class coaches do rebuilds?
No, they don't.
Not typically.
No.
No, not typically. You're probably right there. Do the best want to come to United? Again, right now, it's a really good question. I don't know if they do. If Inzaghi comes, would you sell all the wingers?
I mean, he doesn't play with wingers, does he?
Yeah, plays wing back.
Backs in it.
Well,
I might be a good wing back, maybe. Victor Moses settings.
but this is also part of the thinking. It needs to be someone that, again, I think that's why I think, you know, this is, I'm not saying I would advocate for Southgate. I'm so glad Nobbins didn't say him, but that's why someone like a Frank to help build the squad to how we want it. And then that top manager who comes in, it might be the way forward, but we'll see. Remember,
Sorry,
go
I was
on.
going to say, just on Frank, he is. People say in the chat you're trolling. Genuinely, he's one of the best tacticians in the Premier League. So let's give him his genuine respect. He's one of the best managers in the league.
To say,
Who works with
to say Frank
without a
over
budget as
Thomas-
well.
to say
What's that?
Frank over Thomas Tuchel, I think is wild. By the way, but
I didn't say that.
for me, if I was United, Tuchel should be number one. Top of
I think
the
that
list.
was what they need 2 or 3 years down the line. Like the link
Yeah,
with
but the squad probably
Inzaghi is
doesn't
not
fit
taking that
well.
United job.
Is Tuchel a guy who, in his 3 years before he inevitably blows up at everyone, can build United's foundations into a spot where they want to be? Or is it better to have the 2 to 3 years where he's going to be really good, but then blow it up at the end when you're at a point where you can win?
He's the manager you bring in 2027. He's not. He's got 3 years left on his deal. He's been managing Italy since 2012 or something with Lazio for their youth structure. This year he's up against Juve and Conte and AC Milan. You're looking at like 35 million euro, 40 million euro to get him out of that deal.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
I say break the bank and get Alonso now. Break the bank. Break the hearts of
Okay,
Real
but if
Madrid
you're
and
Xabi
Liverpool.
Alonso, you've just won a league title. You're going up against company now who look really good. I mean, it's not career suicide because he's so young, but like you said, are the United fans going to sit and be patient with Xabi Alonso, knowing that it's probably going to get worse before it gets better?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's been proved. I mean, maybe not. Again, the football's got whoever comes in. It's just they've got to get results and play nice football. It's always going to help.